Why should international students choose Northern Ontario over bigger cities?
I can say there's so many benefits, for example, lower cost of living.
So, what do you think? What are the common mistakes international students make when applying for colleges and university in Canada?
Choosing a non-designated learning institution.
From a Canadian employer's perspective, what do they look for when hiring international students?
Yeah, there are many factors to consider. It's not just about your technical or educational background.
So, what are some common immigration challenges international students face, and how can they overcome them?
There are so many challenges, but there are main ones I like to point out. First, policy changes.
Can I get PR in Canada as an international student? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another brand new edition of Beyond the Borders Season 1 with me, Arjun. You are listening to us on 96.7 CKLU.ca and Radio Player Canada app. Thank you so much for listening. Talking about today's episode, on today's episodes of Beyond the Borders, we are joined by an unstoppable force in the world of international education and immigrations. She is none other than Shensi Zhang, also known as Sabrina. A dreamer, a fighter, and a guiding light for immigrants and students in Canada. Arriving from China with a suitcase full of dreams, she battled late-night study marathons, cultural hurdles, and relentless pursuit of her MBA into fuel for a greater mission. Today, as the founder and director of HY Voyagers, Shensi leads a powerhouse team of experts dedicated to empowering newcomers, immigrants, and international students to conquer career challenges, academic pressures, and immigration complexities. Not just to survive, but to thrive in the Great White North. Her story, a testament to grit and determination, from battling the maze of permanent residency to building a community from scratch. Shensi proves that resilience transforms barriers into breakthroughs. With warmth, wit, and unwavering drive, she is redefining success, one audacious dream at a time. Whether you are an aspiring student, a dream-chasing immigrant, or someone hungry for inspirations, tune in as Sabrina shares hard-earned wisdom, heart, and actionable strategy to turn your what if into what's next. This is not just her story, it's your invitations to rise. Also, she's gonna be showing you how to I can't into how I will. This isn't just inspiration, it's your roadmap. So, ladies and gentlemen, grab your headphones and lean in, because this conversation on Beyond the Borders isn't just about survival, it's about sparking a revolution of success. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin right here and right now. So, please welcome Sabrina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good to be here.
Yeah. Huang Yin, welcome.
Yes, 欢迎, yes, welcome. Thank
Say,
you. Yeah, thank you.
I went through one TikTok and I came to know how to say I love you in Chinese. It says 我爱你.
我爱你. Yes, yes.
Wow.
Very good.
Okay, so for those eager to connect with Chinese traditions, can you share a few common words or phrases in Chinese that truly capture the essence of Chinese hospitality and spirit?
Yeah.
Also, you can tell us the meaning and pronunciation as well.
Sure, I think it's kind of universal. When you see someone, you want to say hello, hi. And then in Chinese, we normally say 你好, means hello.
你好.
Yes.
I just missed that word.
Yes, it's really good. People can just, start talking to you and everything. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. What is the best thing about, since you were from China, what is the best thing about China and Chinese people?
If I could use one word to describe Chinese people, I would say hardworking. Everybody is hardworking.
Wow.
That's why our country developed so fast, because everybody's in it, everybody's contributing.
Wow.
I love that about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But in your case, in 2019, you
Yeah.
arrived in Canada from
Right.
China with a suitcase full of dreams. Determined to conquer an MBA at Laurentian University,
Yeah.
a journey many international students relate to. So, what inspired your move to Canada? And was it academic ambition only, a vision for new life, or something deeper?
It is sort of complicated, but I can sort of, start talking about a few points that can give you a sense of why I'm here. Actually, before I came here, I studied in the UK before. I didn't decide to stay in the UK. I just went back to China and I started being a human resource manager and interpreter, and also I did a lot of other work. And then I set up my own company there. I was pretty much like ready to be settled. And then as I did more of my business, I discovered that Canada was a beautiful country that I should discover. It was kind of coincidence. I went to this international fair in Beijing, networking and see what kind of opportunities there were. And then I came across quite some Canadian universities and colleges promoting themselves at the fair, and I got to talk to some of them. And then I discovered that actually Canada has a lot of opportunities. After you graduate from universities or college, you can actually pursue a PR, like permanent residence. However, in the UK, I would say UK is not a country that welcome immigrants or international students, especially there are not as many pathways to obtain your PR after graduation. That's why I'm thinking, oh, Canada is great. I'm going to explore Canada. And then I started looking into it. I got to know that you have to have like a PR card or something. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to conduct business between Canada and China. And then I started looking into that. And then, yeah, not long after, I'm here.
Yeah. All right. So during your MBA, was there a moment you felt completely defeated, balancing your study and work, finances, loneliness? Can you share a specific struggle, a lowest point where you questions your path? How did you turn that struggle into strength? Let's listen your struggle, specific
I'd
struggle.
love to talk about struggles
Yeah.
because they make me laugh. Too many struggles, but there's one that is, I will never forget about the struggle, because when I came here, I didn't know how to drive. Back home in my country, I didn't have to drive at all, and public transportation was extremely advanced, and also we didn't have to. We can just take a cab, it's just pretty cheap. We didn't have to do anything, everything was so convenient. After I came here, especially in winter, if you don't drive, life can be very difficult. And there was one time, I was like very busy studying at Laurentian. Normally, I couldn't make much time during daytime to go grocery shopping, actually. So I went there one night to Food Basics in the Four Corners. And then I got a lot of stuff in my suitcase because I didn't have a car. So I had to go there with my suitcase and buy a lot of stuff. Then I didn't have to buy groceries anytime soon. I was just busy with studying and everything. Well, on my way back to my place, I was very slippery on the road. I was pulling my luggage, sort of, suitcase, and then it was so slippery. I slipped into a valley full of snow, and then all my apples and oranges were sunk into snow. They're all scattered into the snow. I couldn't find them, and it was like in the middle of the night. My suitcase was nowhere to be found. Then my apples and oranges were everywhere in the snow, and then I sat down in the snow. Instead of crying, I started laughing. I was thinking, you know what, this is interesting. Never had I ever thought I would experience something like this before I came to Canada. I started laughing, thinking, you know what? No one forced you to be here, okay? It is your own choice.
Absolutely.
So you got to be responsible for your choice. You got to be happy with your choice. Whether you're happy or not at this moment, you're going to carry on. So I just got up, trying to find as many apples and oranges as possible in the snow. And found my suitcase and got everything back home. So yeah, that was one struggle that I can remember vividly.
All right. So since we are talking about challenges and struggle, what do you think? What are some of the biggest challenges international students face when settling in Canada?
Settling in Canada, Well, it can be very personal. I'm not quite sure about other people's experiences, but based on my personal experience here, I would say racism and also discrimination. And some of them, I feel like some of those people who might come across as racist or treating people differently, they might be ignorant. They might not know what's better. So yeah, that could be the reason. For example, I went to what is it? Four Corners. There's a walk-in clinic. I went there.
Okay.
I was COVID. I was very sick, out of stress because it was very stressful there. And then when the receptionist saw me, because apparently I look different than the local people. Instead of asking me, okay, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Why are you here? She just pulled up some paper, asked me to fill out, and I just read what's written there. It says, if you ever sue this walk-in clinic, it has to happen here in Canada. It cannot happen in your country, something like that. But for other people, they didn't have to do any of that. Instead of trying to ask what was wrong with me and care about me, they actually care about their own business, whether what kind of risks they were walking into by taking care of me. So I guess maybe I still like to see it as ignorant instead of trying to be racist on purpose. But still, I think it borders on racism for sure.
All right. So, from overcoming your own hurdles, your own challenges, your own struggles, you founded HY Voyagers.
Yes, I did.
To empower others.
Right.
So, what is HY Voyagers and what gap did you see in support for immigrants that made you say, I need to build HY Voyagers?
It's basically based on my own personal experience. When I was studying at Laurentian, I experienced a lot of challenges, and I couldn't have someone who I could turn to solve those challenges. Of course, there was an international students office and everything, but a lot of times their hands are tied. For example, I was looking for getting my PR after graduation, and then there wasn't even one agency here in Sudbury that could take care of that. So I had to talk to agencies in Toronto, and then sign up with one of them. And at the end of the day, they scammed me. They just cheated me. So. And at that time was COVID. All the public transportations were shut down. I couldn't really travel to Toronto to confront them. So that was a really bad experience, and I just didn't want that to happen to anyone. And that's sort of one of the main reasons why I want to set up this agency, this company, to help more people so they don't have to go anywhere else. They can just,
I know, but I want you to tell the listeners, what is HY Voyagers? Means.
Yeah, HY is actually from Hongyang. Hongyang means promote. Voyagers, we all know what voyagers are, and then we're all voyagers in a way, especially for international students and immigrants, we're all voyagers. So yeah, I want to promote voyagers, want to help voyagers, and also Hongyang means oceans and rivers and all that as well in Chinese. That means we voyagers have to come across all those kind of oceans to come here. Yeah, it is a pun in a way, two meanings.
Okay, we're going to talk about HY Voyagers in a while. Before that, let's talk about study in Canada. Why should international students choose Northern Ontario, especially Sudbury, North Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, Thunder Bay, over bigger cities like Toronto and Vancouver and other major cities?
Yeah, there are many benefits, I would say. Before I came here, I didn't know. I mean, when I was in China, all I heard was Vancouver and Toronto. I never heard of Sudbury and those kind of cities you just mentioned. And now I experience everything. I can say there's so many benefits. For example, lower cost of living. I was talking to Sault Ste. Marie International Students Recruitment Specialist 2 days ago. She told me that she went to Toronto to visit her friend. Her friend was living in this apartment, like a shoebox apartment, and that cost at 2,000 Canadian dollars per month.
Wow.
And she was saying, in Sault Ste. Marie, her friend can enjoy such spacious space instead of, such as like shoebox. So lower cost of living, not only in like housing, transportation as well, and everyday expenses. So it's just cheaper and lower, so people can enjoy better quality of life for sure. And also, if you come to those cities to study, you have smaller class sizes. That's why you can enjoy personalized support. When I was at Laurentian, there was around 7 or 10 students per class. That was pretty enjoyable. I would say everybody knows everybody. Everybody can help each other out. And also in those cities, there are easier immigration pathways. For example, RCIP, I have CIP as well. So that's also one of the reasons they should come here. What I want to highlight about these communities is the communities are welcoming tight-knit communities. For example, if you go to Toronto, you say hello to a stranger on the street, they might think is there something wrong with you, right? I think it's kind of universal in all big cities. It's like that when I was in Beijing. Before I came here, I was in Beijing. In big cities, everybody's busy. It's very fast-paced.
Right.
Nobody's kind of, would like to take the time to say hello. When I landed here in Sudbury, strangers reach out, on the street, said hello to me. That's why I think it's easier to make local connections, and also you can feel a sense of peace and belonging as well. Well, when I say it's welcoming, I also mean that for schools, they offer some events and programs specifically designed and targeted for international students as well. I believe last week, Laurentian University organized this, hosted this International Education Week, where they showcased their international engagement and also welcomed and celebrated all different kind of cultures, diverse communities at Laurentian and outside Laurentian. So I think that's pretty cool. And also, I would say in those cities, there's less competition and high demand for skilled professionals. It's easier to get a job, in my opinion. Less competition, high demand. And also, I want to mention those cities are safer when it comes to crime rate. They're way lower. And also, you can have access to nature. Our cities are surrounded by lakes, forests, all those kind of beautiful sceneries. I think that's really good for our mental health as well. And I think one of the key benefits of being in nature, healing effect. I think everybody needs healing. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, everybody's fighting some fight you don't even know exists. So I think living in such communities can really actually heal us, heal every one of us. That's why I strongly recommend people to come to those communities to study.
But still, international students are unaware about the colleges, about the university, about the geographical structures and everything, climate and everything. So what do you think, what are the common mistakes international students make when applying for colleges and university in Canada?
They make a lot of mistakes, including me. So, yeah, I think I'm kind of experienced to talk about this. Number one would be choosing a non-designated learning institution, DLI. I think a lot of us have heard of this term, DLI. If you do not apply for those institutions, you don't get study permit. That's number one. You have to check that. And also, a lot of people do not check their PGW eligibility. They think, oh, okay, once I got admitted to whatever college or university that can grant me study permit, I'll automatically get a permanent resident. It's PGWTP afterwards, which is not true. Normally, right now the rule is like, if your program is less than 8 months, you do not get PGWP. That's why a lot of people do not check that. Just assume, it will be okay. And also, one common mistake that I see is that picking the wrong school or program. They don't know what their goals are. They just choose a school or college based on ranking alone instead of considering their career prospects and also potential PR pathways. For example, if you want to move, if you have getting PR as your goal, you really should consider those cities you just mentioned, those northern cities. For example, for regionalization, if you want to go with the OIMP program, you get 10 points automatically for regionalization. 10 points. Right. If you graduate from Toronto, you get 0. So normally like 50 something, you can just get out of the pool, then you can do the math. It's like it can add you great advantage. And also the last one is also, in my opinion, the worst mistake people make. I really don't want people to make this mistake. I made twice. I don't want people to do this. Let's rely solely on agents without doing personal research. I thought agents are like more experienced, but you should know that nobody should be more caring about your future, your fate, than you. I have this one client who graduated from Northeastern University in Toronto. He reached out to me. He wanted to get a PR. He wanted to go with this OIMP program. However, it was sad for me to tell him that he's not qualified because his school, Northeastern University in Toronto, is not on OIMP list. That doesn't qualify him to go for that program. I wouldn't say the whole 2 years are wasted, but we gotta say that that's not really helping him get his PR. So yeah, that's the mistake I don't want people to make. And here I really want to stress that to solve this problem, our company actually come up with, in my opinion, a perfect solution, because we organize educational tours and invite those potential students or who are interested in coming to Canada to study, to come to those cities, to have school tours, to enjoy tourist attractions in those communities, to understand those communities, what those communities can offer. I think that's very important. For example, I talked to the Algoma University recruiter the other day. She mentioned that a lot of students from that university would drive to Sudbury, to Costco for grocery shopping, make it a day trip. A lot of people do that. So if you really like Costco so much, I think you should come to Sudbury to study instead of Algoma. Then you save a lot of trips. Yeah.
All right. So in addition to that, in Canada, in light of recent immigration policy changes, what key factors students should consider while selecting school or colleges or university? What do you want to add?
Yeah, sure. Just now we mentioned that all these mistakes, common mistakes people make, and then now let's not make those mistakes by thinking what we should do, right? First of all, we mentioned that you should check whether the institution is someone that is on the list of DLI, designated learning institution. And also you want to check PGW eligibility. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you really want to do some research on the job market and in-demand occupations. You want to choose a major that is aligned with Canada labor market needs, right? And then last one, I would say PR pathways. You're going to consider what kind of pathways will be good for you, be it regional, provincial, or federal. You're going to think of that as well. For example, like Sudbury, we are RCIP community, right? And Lakehead in Thunder Bay, on top of RCIP, they have this REDI, REDI. The full name is Economic Development, Regional Economic Development through Immigration. There's new policy as well. So you want to check all those kind of potential pathways as well if you have the goal of getting PR.
Beautiful, beautiful. So as per your experience, as per your research, what industries in Northern Ontario or Sudbury currently have high demand for skilled workers?
Yeah, I think right now, based on my understanding, and I follow the news all the time, a lot of communities are trying to identify those sectors that have high demand for skilled workers. But we generally know the common ones in Northern Ontario. For example, like mining and mining supply services, that is one. Sudbury is a big mining city. North Bay as well, and Timmins, all those cities are very heavy on mining. Especially, I read the news that even though the direct mining employment has declined to about 6,000 individuals, however, the mining supply and service sector remains robust, employing approximately 10,000 people. So that's pretty good. That's number one. And construction, we all know that in Canada, everywhere, it's not necessarily here in Northern Ontario, we have this housing crisis. So we want to build more houses. Construction is absolutely one of them. And healthcare. I think you guys have read the news that we had this new immigration program open up, and people are just they're flocking into it. Healthcare, especially here, Health Science North in Sudbury, they are a major employer here. Education research, I think early childhood education is absolutely one of them. Manufacturing, IT, and cybersecurity, those are the ones a lot of us should look into in terms of applying for schools.
Beautiful. So from a Canadian employer's perspective, what do they look for when hiring international students and recent graduates?
Yeah, there are many factors to consider. It's not just about your technical or educational background. For example, I mean, before I came to Canada, I was a human resource manager that recruited talents all over the world to help our projects all over the world. And also, I was employer in China. Right now, I'm an employer in Canada. So,
Wow.
based on my own experience, I want point out a few points. First of all, like work-ready skill. For example, communication skills. We all want to improve your language levels because communication costs can be very high. If you communicate the wrong idea, things don't go the way you want it to go. That's number one. And also Canadian work experience. This is like a very controversial topic. A lot of people criticize about employers demanding or requesting this Canadian work experience. I would like to give a different kind of perspective. I agree with people in the sense that why do you have the Canadian work experience? A lot of skills are transferable for sure. However, I do believe that a lot of employers are looking for experiences that you have that can showcase that you understand Canadian workplace culture and expectations. Because let's just face it, it's investment, right? So it's not charity, it's an investment. So they want to know how much investment they're looking at. That's number two, and number three would be legal work eligibility. They want to know whether you're eligible to work here in Canada, and a lot of them are looking to see whether you're on a path to permanent residence, because they train you, you're good to go, and you work for 1 month, and then what? You have to leave this country. That's not good for business. It's right. Economic activity, right? And also attitude. I would say attitude is very important as well. I remember when I read a lot of descriptions, even when I write descriptions, I would say can-do attitude, because we all have to solve a lot of problems, and a lot of times we're not experienced in solving a lot of problems. So we have to have this can-do attitude, means that no matter what, we'll figure it out. That attitude is very important. It's not always about your technical background, it's about your attitude. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. We want people that can support us. We want to work with people that we like and trust. And the last one is reference. I think a lot of international students don't realize how important it is. Even for volunteer opportunities, you have to provide referencing. I'm a volunteer for YMCA, I still am, and then one of my job is to do a lot of background reference checking. I would say, based on my experience, a lot of international students couldn't even offer 3 references. They couldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something they should start getting as soon as possible.
Let's talk about immigration and PR pathways. So what are some common immigration challenges international students face, and how can they overcome them?
I mean, there are so many challenges, but there are main ones I like to point out. First, policy changes. I think everybody experienced that over the last year.
Week.
Every day. I wouldn't say every week, I would say every day.
Right.
So policy changes is number one. Navigating through immigration pathways is difficult for every one of them, especially everybody has a tough time staying informed and being able to adapt to new rules. What I would suggest people to do is to follow official IRCC updates. Official updates are important, okay? Official is important. And you're always going to talk to a licensed immigration consultant, in short, RCIC. There's a website, Canada.ca, where you can actually check to see whether they're in good standings or not. I want to mention that even though they are in good standing, it doesn't guarantee that they're good ones, because all the IRCCs RCICs that I worked with are listed there. However, not everybody is a good one. So you still have to really kind of know someone who's good in this industry to actually have a good consultation. That's number one. Number two, I would say common challenge would be find a job. A lot of people struggle to find a job here because some programs need them to have a full-time job offer, for example, like RCIP. And also, like CEC, they require people to have 1 year experience. So looking for a job is something they have a hard time in doing. I would say for this problem, they gotta try to do as many volunteer work as possible, internship, and also their resume and cover letter are not actually Canadian style. Because we work with people, we help people with their resumes, cover letter, and LinkedIn profile. We see that they also kind of stick with their own kind of country style. For example, I take care of Chinese students. On their resume, they're like their pictures, their age, their gender, and all those things shouldn't be there on the resume in the first place.
Right.
And also, there's no kind of achievement sector. For example, okay, you did this, you did that. If I Google this job title, I know what you did. I don't have to ask you. However, you're gonna let me know what you did that have made a difference in the company. What achievement have you achieved? Right? It's like you studied Chinese, studied English, you studied physics, and then you just tell me you studied all those subjects. How much score have you got? It's like 20, 30, 180. That makes a huge difference. So I want to know as employer. That's why I think that's like one of the biggest mistakes that people make. And also, all those kind of resumes, cover letter, and LinkedIn profile are not optimized. You have to have some keywords inserted for them to find you. So that's the problem. And also, a lot of people underestimate the importance of LinkedIn. That's like the biggest network here in North America. People don't do that. Actually, people do not do enough networking. LinkedIn is one of them, and also in person is important as well. For example, my first employee is from LU. How I met her is because I was an international student. She was helping the school host a Christmas meal for international students. So I just networked with her. I knew that she cared about international students. She was there. So yeah, right after when I wanted to set up my own company, I reached out to her. She was very happy and on board and everything. So networking is a lot more important than actually, in my opinion, trying to submit thousands of resumes. And it's really too late to start looking for a job upon graduation. That's just too late, especially for the purpose of obtaining a PR. So the last piece of advice I would say that for this challenge is it's not about what you know. It's really about who you know, and it's more about who knows you. That's important in terms of looking for a job. For example, I don't have any sort of acting experience. However, I just had this opportunity to acting in a movie in North Bay and got to know someone who is working for Short Sea, this hockey game show, TV show that is being shot right here, right now in Sudbury. And then she introduced me to just do some of roles there as well. See, networking is everything. So I want people to start networking as soon as possible. Actually, we have a series, like podcast series on YouTube that helps people learn the different steps, what they should do now and first next. The title is How Can I Get PR in Canada as an International Student? Your complete guide. You can come to our YouTube channel, HY Voyagers, to check it out.
Can I get PR in Canada as an international student?
Yes.
Your complete guide.
Right.
Podcast.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So moving ahead, RCIP and FCIP program is eagerly waiting program for most of the people, especially the student here in Northern Ontario. So
exactly.
Let's talk about this. How do the Rural Community Immigration Pilot RCIP and Francophone Community Immigration Pilot FCIP program work? And why is it an attractive option for students in Northern Ontario or those who are planning to move to Northern Ontario?
Actually, there are people that I know of moved to Sudbury from Ottawa,
right,
and then get their PR here in Sudbury by getting a job in the mall. I know that.
Wow.
Canada has introduced 2 community-driven immigration pilots aimed at attracting skilled workers, as many of us know. One is RCIP, the other one is FCIP. And these programs offer pathways to permanent residency for individuals who will secure employment in those communities. And I would say for us, it's so beneficial for every one of us who studied here. First one, I want to mention lower requirements. As long as you graduate from those communities, you do not have to provide 1 year work experience to qualify for those programs. And actually, you can gain extra points for having a close tie to the community. For example, when our NIP was still active. As long as you spend 5 days, if I remember correctly, it's 5 days here in Sudbury, you get extra points. So yeah, that's very beneficial for every one of us here. And also those programs are community-driven PR programs. Having studied in those cities, that students may already have established networks and familiarity with those local cultures and people, easing their integration into these communities as well, especially in the workforce. And the last point I would like to address is that there's demand for skilled workers in those communities. These communities have right now a lot of communities are still doing it, identifying specific labor shortages, increasing the likelihood of employment opportunities for international students. That means as long as you study anything that is in high demand, I wouldn't say it's guaranteed and can be guaranteed, but you enjoy great chances of getting a PR in those communities.
Absolutely. All right. So I went through your brochure, your website, and it mentions holistic ecosystem for immigrants. So, what unique gaps in Canada's support system does HY Voyagers feel that set your services apart from traditional immigration consultants or educational consultancies?
The biggest difference, I would say, we're like one-stop shop from the very early point when you plan to study in Canada to the very last point. If your goal is to get a PR, where we are with you on this journey all the way with you. That's the biggest difference, I say.
All right, you want to elaborate? Like, how does HY Voyagers provide ongoing support to international students beyond just school, career, or immigration applications?
We're your friend. We support you. For example, right now you are planning to come to Canada. You know nothing about those communities and everything. And first, we can help you. If you want to sign up for the tour, we can take you around to all those kind of communities to see all those schools, talk to professors, talk to faculty and staff to find out all your programs and their job prospect after graduation, and also possible PR pathways. And I would say spiritual support is something we differentiate from the other companies as well. For example, if you're in the community, that's when struggles begin, right? You are here, you landed, you don't know where to find a house, you don't know whether you need insurance, which bank to go to, what kind of phone network I want to work with, and all that kind of problems. We help you with all the things that you need, because all the struggles you're having right now are the struggles that I overcome already. So yeah.
Interesting. Almost at the end. HY Voyagers, emphasizes, as per I know, turning adaptation into domination for newcomers. So, can you share a specific story of a client or an immigrant or a student who started with uncertainty, but it is now thriving in Canada, and what pivotal steps made that transformation possible? Any story of any of the student or any of the clients?
Yeah, well, there's so many. I'll just see which one like talk about. There's one who's from China. He graduated from, I mentioned this client earlier, Northeastern University in Toronto. And then we started working with him in the sense of, what kind of skills you have. And we started working on his resume and cover letter and LinkedIn. And then we help him identify different kind of pathways that he can work with. And then he followed our advice and then started aiming differently, because the OIMP one, he really wanted to go with, but he couldn't. So yeah, we worked with him with getting a job. And then he's qualified for this trade program. And then now he submitted his application, and now waiting for, hopefully we can get a good result.
Of course, of course. So looking at HY Voyagers aim to be a lifelong partner, it seems.
Yes.
For immigrants, okay?
Right.
So what bold vision or new initiatives are you most excited about to expand this mission in 2025 and beyond?
In 2025, we're trying everything we can to bring as many potential students as possible from China to Canada to visit all those schools. and to really talk to professors, talk to faculty and staff to find out which community, which school, which program is the best for them. Of course, we give them advice beforehand, but we want them to understand everything firsthand. And also at the same time, I want them to go to some really beautiful tourist attractions to really enjoy their life as much as they can.
Wow. Thank you so much for your time. So before we leave, you want to say anything to the listeners, or you want to add anything about HY Voyagers? How an immigrant or a student or a newcomer, how can they reach to you, or any message to the listeners?
Sure. Actually, we HY Voyagers offers comprehensive support to international students in Canada, extending beyond academic, career, and immigration assistance. And I also want to say that a lot of times they just want someone to talk to. They might not have specific questions or challenges. They just want to talk to someone who understands their journey. We can help them if they need choosing the right program, school, language preparation, visa and career development, and all culture adaptation, PR guides. Guidance. We can offer that for sure. But sometimes you just need to talk to. They just need to talk to someone who understands them. That's why we have groups on WhatsApp, WeChat, Facebook, and LinkedIn, where we share job opportunities, networking opportunities, events updates, and also policy updates, so they don't have to, be confused all the time.
Right.
I'd like to encourage everyone to follow us on socials, and also if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to us. And I really want to say this from the bottom of my heart: we are always here for you. As a former international student and a PR holder, I truly understand what you're going through, all your hardships. So my team and I at HY Voyagers will absolutely help navigate through your whole journey in terms of study, career, immigration, and life in Canada. We want everybody to have a crazy fun life here in Canada. Why do you move here? You want to have fun, right? So crazy fun is everybody, in my opinion, looking for. So we would like to help you with that.
Beautiful. For all the best with that.
Thank
and
you.
all the future plans with HY Voyagers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Me.
Thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate your presence.
Thank you.